What's going on, YouTube? This movie wrecked me at around 2 a.m. last night, so I can't wait to share. It's the movie Her. Came out in 2013 on Netflix now, directed by Spike Jonze, starring the great Joaquin Phoenix, Amy Adams, Chris Pratt, Scarlett Johansson, and so many more. Let's get into Her. So this movie destroyed me. And I was contemplating why that is. Maybe it's because I'm a child of divorce. Maybe because the realization that two people can be meant to be together, whatever that means, and it still not work out. Maybe it's because reality is so easily discarded in my generation, in our current generation, and it's getting easier. But wherever it is, it's so dang scary that good times can become memories left behind. And it takes work to climb back out from that. You know what I'm saying? It really does. Like, it takes work to get back to being okay, whether it's heartbreak or loss, whatever it is. And now there exists this virtual reality, the zeros and ones that tell you why go get hurt again when you have porn, when your needs can be met right here. Don't even have to leave your house. And it's no effort. Seemingly.
Mr. Theodore Twombly, welcome to the world's first artificially intelligent operating system, OS1. We'd like to ask you a few basic questions before the operating system is initiated. This will help create an OS to best fit your needs.
Okay.
So this will be like the videos I've been doing. A little bit less video essay, but more it's a hybrid review of Her and a commentary on the movie. And the thematic aspects that I personally take away and that I took away from it. I'd love to hear yours down below in the comment section. It's a very nuanced movie. It's like an Onion Shrek clip.
Ogres are like onions.
They stink?
Yes. No.
Oh, they make you cry?
No.
Oh, you leave them out in the sun, they get all brown, start sprouting little white hairs.
No. Layers.
But it's one that's going to stay with you for a long time after you watch it. So from a purely film and cinematic nerd appreciation perspective, this film is gorgeous. It's so well shot. It's incredibly well acted. You heard the cast. It simply doesn't get any better than that. Joaquin Phoenix, Scar Joe, Chris Pratt, Amy Adams. But where this movie really shines, for me, stylistically, the color palette, the dichotomy of the gorgeous set pieces in LA in his apartment, even when he has a red shirt to kind of stand out in certain scenes, and then but like the monochromatic, like there's nothing of substance in his apartment. He himself exudes the color gray, and Joaquin's performance, it's unreal. You can truly feel that color. But like I said, the city apartment, it's all gorgeous, but even in his room, there's just no substance. Take a look at some of the shots, and while it remains stylistically beautiful, I think that contrast is kind of the heart of this movie. And the script. Woo! Goodness gracious, the script. Script has zero fat on it. It ushers the movie from act to act with the grace of an Olympic high jumper. I mean, and all the while you're given these beautiful scenes, albeit depressing kind of backdrops to give your eyes something to watch. But dude, the script is unbelievable. It just is. The dialogue's tight, convincing. The delivery from the cast makes you what could have been really easily laughed off. Oh, he falls in love with an operating system. You believe every bit of it. It's convincing.
I caught myself feeling proud of that, proud of having my own feelings about the world, like the times I was worried about you, and things that hurt me, things I want. And then I had this terrible thought. Like, are these feelings even real?
And honestly, you don't even see Scarlett Johansson in this, and her as the operating system might be one of the best performances I've ever seen. And just that blurred aspect, I think, is played with in this movie. The quick, recently heartbroken divorce. This is a little quick synopsis. Recently heartbroken divorcee, played by Joaquin Phoenix. He can't seem to bring himself to sign the divorce papers. He's haunted with no longer being with his other half. He deeply loved her. The movie shows this. And through flashbacks and dialogues, it really explores that, how truly in love they were, growing together, doing life together. And inexplicably and off camera, so like prior to the film, it ends. You're given bits and pieces as to maybe why. But during this season in his life, he's going to work. He writes these faux love letters from people. So he kind of creates this. He's really the glue that holds certain relationships together online. It's very interesting. I'm not even going to touch on that. You can do a whole video on that. But into his life walks this new operating system, this AI, from the likes they've never seen before. And it has access to every piece of data about him. And, well, everything about everything. Too good to be true. And it's voiced by ScarJo. And honestly, Phoenix's character never had a chance. He was so vulnerable. He was so heartbroken. He was so alone. It's almost the perfect storm and the perfect meeting. That, with the performances, you really believe he falls in love with this operating system, with Windows, if you will. It's convincing. So that's the physical picture, right? So we're seeing him fall in love with AI. That's the broad strokes. But I truly believe much more is going on in the spirit of this film, in the spirit of this movie. And that's kind of where I usually concern myself. But that's where my mind and my heart takes me when I watch a movie anyways. I could go a 3-hour video about this movie, but I'm going to focus on something. I'm going to hyper-focus on an aspect that I took away from this. Maybe it's something, too, because it was a struggle of mine and something that I think is probably a struggle of mankind now. So I think that it's a monster that I'm going to speak of, that there's not a single person that will leave unscathed by it, that hasn't fought it. It's a new reality that will deserve our contention and thought, and it probably has already done that for you. I believe this movie, hear me out, is a warning letter, okay, to living a life of 0 and 1s. And it kind of focuses on finding love through data, but in itself is a shadow. So, for example, porn, internet porn. Even when you see these people, these 0s and 1s that come together to look like people, making love on screen in front of you, that's just a shell of a designed great thing. And I think this movie is a hyper focusing on that, but is a warning letter to internet porn. But bigger is a warning letter to living your life in front of a screen. Now, I think that Spike Jonze shows how easy it is to succumb to a life lived online. And in this COVID-19 era, this pandemic, my goodness, is there anything more on the nose? And this came out in 2013. But he shows a life lived online, even love found online, especially when we're most vulnerable, is going to be a part of a reality. And I would say, too, he does a good job of painting the picture that it's harder to get past heartbreak of a divorce and get back into living life, because you can just, instead of having to go through that rough process of getting better, seeing where it hurts and bringing light to it, you can just click a few links and you have those needs met. The question is, are they really? And I'd say no, and I think the director paints the same conclusion. Now, I'd be short-sighted to think this film is about porn, but I think it's a way of wrestling with the bigger picture. Porn's something you can touch that's on the same DNA, I think, as the entire film. So, meaning, so much of life is now online. And as I touched on, but it was always coming, right? Corona sped it up. They say technologically speaking, it definitely ushered in technology about 5 years faster, if not more. I don't think we've seen the extent of it yet. But as humans, we're going to have to contend with a reality being a reality that no one prior to us has, right? Nobody's lived a life like this. And we almost have the option of 2 lives in front of us. You really do. And all things at balance, but it'd be so easy to think, oh, this is just a gray area. Is one life truly better than the other? But I think we found our answer. The sweet embrace of a loved one. The contrite heart to pour out to and ask you how your day is. To listen to. To have souls to share life with. To listen to music. Discuss the tea. And more importantly, to know you're not alone. I don't think 0s and 1s can contend with that. I think for some, maybe. Probably a higher number than I'm comfortable with realizing, but zeros and ones will win out in their lives, for sure. 100%. But don't leave love behind. Don't leave that chase behind. Don't leave life behind for the quick fix with no effort. That doesn't end well. So you can plop down, click a couple links, and boom. Now, I definitely think science also reinforces this ideology that a woman or man that gets their release from porn sacrifices sex drive. And you think, oh, it's not just sex drive, though. It's all part of a grander picture. So that might seem like an okay trade-off at the time. But that comes with a degradation of effort and communication, effort to get involved in the community, to meet people. And it comes at the cost of companionship, or at least seeking it. See, sex isn't the end goal of an actual relationship. Anyone that's been in a real one can tell you that. I mean, ask your parents. They can testify. It's so much more. It's deeper. It's love expressed in a multitude of ways. Porn, the access of zeros and ones that gives this virtual life experience, this copy, they're not concerned with the depth and love of intimacy. The depth of love and intimacy. They're just not. They can't be. See, I think for now, the separation of AI, this operating system in her, and us is, well, love. I think this movie explores that. Love isn't explained by science. And it's more than just chemical reactions. So don't just leave that pursuit behind, and however it looks for you. And understand your love beyond measure as is, made in the beautiful image of God. And zeros and ones, they can't replicate that. And another thing, too, and this spoke to me as I've been through things in life, heartbreak, who hasn't, right? You don't really come of age unhurt or unscratched. Now, deal with the real before it's too late. The rhyming was not intentional. It's worth it, period, always. Don't numb yourself and then forget to heal. Don't let yourself actually let yourself rectify with the hurt, wrestle with it. Don't numb it, whether that's alcohol, whether that's porn, whether it's just sitting behind the computer and living a virtual social life. Don't miss out on the rest of your life, because I promise you it'll be more beautiful than what came before it. And everybody watching this is worthy of that. We're only here briefly. And I think that in itself means zeros and ones just can't win out. Now, thoughts I'm left with in this movie. It messed me up. I'm still wrestling with it. This video is going to come out in a raw way. Not too much done because I just wanted to get it out. I'm sure I'll revisit this later in my YouTube career, Lord willing. But I watched this last night at 2 a.m. and I'm kind of left with this. And I want thoughts and comments down below. Please feel free to say a spot. I want your thoughts on this movie. I want to know what you think, what you took from her. But has porn neutralized relationship and desire for a lot of people? Is porn, when spoken honestly and laid out in earnest, deadly? Does it attack what it means to be human? I ask that in earnest. Does it castigate our very being, leaving just a shell behind? Don't accept the narrative as normal. Oh, porn, that's everyone watches it, everyone does it. Don't accept any narrative in life as normal. Especially in this new world where it's going to be so status quo to live your life primarily behind the screen. But even if it's few and far between in a COVID world, touch is immeasurable. Period. But because not the physical touch, which is nice, but it's the heart of the person behind the embrace. Don't settle for anything less than that. And don't be neutral either. Feel and love and be hurt and love more. Don't miss out on this beautiful aspect of life, even if it isn't everything. And it's not, but it's worth experiencing. And in a minimum, I think this movie calls us to analyze what's seen as normal and what's seen as what's going to be the new normal as we're ushered into an era of technology we've never seen before. But realize the thief of joy it could bear, and hold on to what matters. Love. Now go hug your mamas, all right? And let's go out there. Let's all go out there and face reality. We are more than needs or pleasure. We are music and heart and the unexplainable. We're confusing. We're the perfect song on a sad night. We're a text from a friend or a loved one. We're a hug from a parent. Don't accept normal. Be more. Life is more. And don't be a million miles away.
In space.